start slowly the meetup. We have some slide deck also to show to people, and in the meanwhile, maybe some other participants will join. So yeah, this is our 8th meetup, by the way, and just general rules as usual. Yeah. So we prefer microphones to be muted while presentation. There will be always a QA session after each presentation. Camera on is always appreciated. And if you need to ask a question, feel free to raise a hand. We will give you the word, definitely. You may also ask a question in the chat that will be also read afterwards, and hope you will get answer. From the news, as usual, the greatest news, the SITECORE Symposium, which had a great success, and Rodrigo will speak about that. And about SITECORE User Group Baltics, Irina is placing our channel, links to our channels, so LinkedIn, Facebook, Meetup, YouTube. Follow us, like us, and you will not miss any other next meetup we organize. Okay, this meetup will be recorded and as usual will be placed on the YouTube channel. The agenda for today is, first of all, of course, the SITECORE Symposium recap. After that, we'll have some Energizer session, fun quiz as usual, and then we'll have DevOps and governance in SITECORE containers topic. So, and the first speaker is Rodrigo Peplau, SITECORE MVP, already from 2016, country head in Brazil at Altudo and director of technology solutions. So Rodrigo, and you are also the rock star of Budbusters. So we saw you already not only doing SITECORE and also singing.
True.
Okay. Yeah.
And I would like to add to Rodrigo. I mean, those who haven't heard him, this is time to meet this rock star. He's a pretty great guy. He's my colleague. We are working together, and he's very helpful to the community as well. Like whatnot, like whenever there is an issue, he's always there. And today is an official holiday in Brazil. Still, he came to share his knowledge. So thank you. I mean, very pleased to have you here, Rodrigo.
Okay, thank you. The stage is yours. You can take the screen.
Thank you. All right, so I'll start sharing my screen. Already. You see it? You see it?
No.
Maybe somebody needs to unshare to let you in.
No. I know what's going on. Just a second. Wrong monitor. Where is the monitor? This one. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. There we go.
Teams is what we said.
Yeah, so I'll starting swapping. Thank you so much. This is it. Thanks for coming. It's a great pleasure to be in this user group in the Baltics. Do have friends everywhere in the world. Hope we do more sessions. Today I'm coming here with the SITECORE Symposium's Diary of an XP Fanatic. And I'm using the name XP Fanatic because I am around for quite a long time. I started with SITECORE in 2010, 12 years ago. We're almost closing 13 next year. I work as, thanks for announcing, as a head of country in Brazil for Altudo, also director of technology. I'm most recently having the 7 MVP in 2022. And I'm looking forward for renewing the title next year. Also, very proud member of the team Go Horse we always participate in the SITECORE hackathon, and we won twice. We actually are competing for 7 times in a row this year, and this is something we do with a lot of pleasure. Yes, you dedicate 24 hours of your day, basically one day in the weekend, but that's an amazing way to integrate with the community. And also you come out with something, a module that you build. Eventually you win. Yeah, so I live in Florianópolis, Brazil. Amazing place. You guys have to visit when you come to Brazil. Yes, you can go to the same places, Rio de Janeiro, that everybody are always talking about. But come to the south. Florianópolis is an amazing island in a great weather and amazing people. There are beaches everywhere. So it's a very amazing place to live. That's why I'm still here after so long time. People call me SITECORE Singer in Twitter and in the community. Okay, and the reason why I use the word XP fanatic is because SITECORE XP, and before when I started, not even the name was SITECORE XP, it was a different name, but those days, the idea of XP, the monolith, was already there. And I am a big fan of XP. At the same time, I recognize the limitations of the platform, of the architecture, and the necessity to go composable, because things are not as used to be in the past when we started. Actually, things changed, but that's a necessity coming from the market. So we have to respond to that. And we are in the IT field, so we have to learn every day. I have a humble summary of my perceptions on the symposium, which I am far away from being like any boldly telling you anything new. Actually, it's just my perceptions. And one of the interesting things this year that I noticed was the partner pavilion. So for those who don't know, the partner pavilion is a space where partners have their booths. There are bigger booths, smaller booths. There are living space where people can have some snacks, something to drink, and interact with the partners. So the partner pavilion used to be separated less in the previous events, and even later, like when it was online events, virtual events, the partner pavilion was not existing, of course. But this year it was a great space where you can circulate between the hotels. You see this walkway here. This one is Chicago can be cold, especially windy and cold. So you can circulate between the hotels. I was hosted in this hotel here, Hyatt, and there was another hotel here where the conference is happening. So you can circulate between the hotels without being having to walk outside. That was interesting. And differently from the past events where the partner pavilion was physically separated from the theater space, this time the same place was it was a shared space. The same place was a theater and a pavilion, which was interesting because people could easily move to, without having to ask where is the pavilion, without having to circulate long distances. They can just take a seat, watch the theater session, and go back to the pavilion by walking a very small distance. So it was interesting, and it was not. At the same time, it feels at a normal partner pavilion, a space with a conference happening. If you are in the middle of the pavilion, you cannot even see the theater anymore. It's a very huge space. So interesting thing about that. Mobile app this year was interesting. I would say more with more features than last years. And one of the interesting things was the gamification. You can accumulate points, and by accumulating points, scanning people, visiting partners' booths, and scanning yourself, and doing some things, some tasks, you can very easily get some points and take some prizes out of that. Some people got some like SITECORE pillows. Some people got some different prizes. I ain't got anything. I was actually not even checking my phone, to be honest. Only for the agenda, what is the next session, and that's it. But the mobile was amazing. Also, very important to say, of course, after almost 3 years of COVID and pandemic, was amazing to see everyone in person again and without masks. Some people were wearing masks, but still, and it was feeling normal again. It was amazing. I was also part of this event. It was a pizza tour called Pizza Symposium. It is a separate event, not part of the SITECORE Symposium, but I had to remark here because it was in a Monday. In the Monday, you don't have any activities in SITECORE Symposium. So what we did at night was going to this pizza tour. You had to pay a ticket for that, and you visited 3 places: Flo Santos, La Briola, and Pizzanos. It was a small group, I think less than 30 people, but you can identify a lot of interesting known faces, right? Jeff, Pete, other guys here. There's myself here, a lot of other familiar faces. And we elected the favorite pizza. My position was I voted for the same as the winner, but at the same time, I feel it's not fair to the other places, because the other 2 pizzerias, they were after the first, and everybody was hungry in the first. So everything would taste better if you were hungry, of course. But the elected pizza was thin crust, which is a surprise because Chicago is known for the deep dishes, right? So that's interesting. The winning pizzeria was Flo and Santos with the Polish pizza. Another interesting thing. So I am in Chicago having some pizza, Italian pizza, and the winner is Polish pizza, whatever. It was fun anyway. A big shout out to my friend Chad Potvin, the Chino Bandido, for organizing this. He made all the work. It was amazing. He even had a very funny guy to guide us through everything. And also some, as you can see, some professional pictures taken that night. It was cool. All right. The SITECORE Symposium opens, and normally there are a lot of announcements. And the guest keynote this year was Mandy Kaling. Actually, Mandy Kaling. That's the right pronunciation. Mandy Kaling, which was an Emmy-nominated writer. She wrote The Office, the TV show. It was amazing to see her in that event because she has a very special way to, I would say, overcome the difficulties of being in a wild place that is business world, right? She sit with Paige O'Neill, and it was an interesting conversation. Paige was, as always, amazing on stage and extracted. It was a very spontaneous conversation with Mandy, and it was interesting how she puts in front of challenges. That's something some people might be, maybe put down if they are in front of a high, heavy challenge or difficult challenge. But the lady was at the same time so courageous, but at the same time not knowing when to let it go. Some people are consumed by their feelings, and this lady demonstrated that actually so it was an interesting conversation. And for me, the best quote was, do the best you can, and when you know better, you must do better, right? In other words, don't relax because you know better now. Do better. Don't commit the same mistakes. It was a great one. All right. Some announcements now. That's more technical part, I think, because I have to speak about the technical new products and things like that. For those who are watching presentation afterwards, after today, I already announced today is holiday in Brazil, so I have no water in the place. Okay. Well, that was the first, at the same time, surprise, but it was not a surprise for partners that for some long time, Accenture, Avanade, and SITECORE had some things together. And this year it was announced on stage about that SITECORE and Accenture are enhancing their business partnership. As I mentioned at the beginning, I worked to Altudo, a different partner. Of course, that the first thing I heard, I thought was, what does that mean for other partners? How does that impact other partners? Steven Tsikakis was there ensuring that SITECORE will not compete against the partners. And that was interesting in part because at the same time they're announcing this. What does that mean? If you look deeply to what, let's have a look on what they announced officially, okay? This is Steve's own words. Our business partnership with Accenture will expand the ability to quickly design, launch, and scale relevant experiences to unlock growth. So the collaboration will further expand our ability to help clients create meaningful and interactive engagement for their clients on scale. So, in other words, if you look closer to this, it has to do with quickly design, go to market, right? Design, launch, scale, relevant experiences. And that means that they are playing together because SITECORE recognize in this company the capability to deliver. And that's key. For other partners, what that means, in my opinion, is that if you deliver, you're safe. Because there's going to be a need to accelerate this. And Accenture does have these big head count, but at some point it has a limit, right? So if you're doing that correctly and you have your own ability to deliver, which Altudo does, and I hope your partner does, and if you are a SITECORE client, you're safe. I am so shy that we don't, but that's fine. We have to move and adapt. That's what we do. But let's talk about the SITECORE XP. That's one announcement that was made there. SITECORE 10.3 was announced. It was already anticipated before that SITECORE 10.3 was going to be announced. The headless SXA option was also announced. It was amazing to hear. It was also already anticipated, but it's now official. Next.js components as well, of course. But let me speak a little about SXA, headless SXA. The importance of this is that you can now have your headless implementation from scratch into headless. Your SXA implementation into headless from scratch if you are in 10.3. But also if you have a legacy SXA implementation, you can upgrade to 10.3 and adapt to headless SXA. You will have to rewrite some stuff. And because after that, you will be able to, if you want, to go to XM Cloud, which is one of the other announcements this year in Symposium. By doing that, that's interesting because you don't need to re-implement your whole implementation in a headless technology or Next.js or with CSS. You can go SXA and at the same time be compatible with XM Cloud in the future if you want, or stay in XP if you want. They also announced the Premium 2.0 Managed Cloud, where SITECORE is hosting the application for clients. New features to facilitate the feature conversion to XM Cloud, including but not limited to SXA. And also they mentioned for next year, 10.4 will also be in the roadmap. So that's important because if you look to the support life cycle of SITECORE, it gives you 6 years ahead of mainstream support for SITECORE XP. So if your client wants to stay in XP for lots of reasons for doing that, they still can be there and have mainstream support for another 6 years. And I'm sure, depending on the how popular or not the SaaS offers are in next year, they can still do SITECORE 11 and announce that, or 10.4, 10.5, let's say. So it's safe to say about the future of XP that XP SITECORE as a monolith is not dead. It is going to be, of course, smaller, but there are still a lot of reasons why to stay in this type of architecture. At the same time, SITECORE is doing XP and XM, the monolithic one, more composable, which is good. So you can still be in SITECORE XP and compose with other composable vendors. That's important. But I think that's my perception that XP and XM will still exist, as we know, but with more headless than ever. I would say MVC, very legacy ones you have, will be more and more rare, but with more intensive integrations with external systems, because composability is a thing, is here to stay, in my opinion. So there's going to be more and more things like that. Working with technology, I told that already, is always learning. So we are in the technology world. We have to absorb. XM Cloud, I mentioned about that already. So it's now generally available. You have everybody can now pay and go to XM Cloud. And for those who don't know, XM Cloud is a SaaS offer for a CMS. It's basically is going to include an XM like content editor with CMS, close to the same features as the XM itself. You will have SXA as accelerator. You have JSS. So if your client is already headless, you already can go XM tomorrow, XM Cloud. If you are an XP but headless, yes, you can go to XM, but you have to replace the XDB with something. or even keep only the XDB. I don't know why someone would do that, but you can technically. The Edge GraphQL for headless, of course, SITECORE serialization, the whole XM, as we know, experience management, which is basically the XP with XDB disabled, roughly speaking. You still have some personalization and other things. XM Cloud comes with personalization, with its rules-based personalization, a cut-down version of CDP personalize, enabling as well rules engine, meaning the same personalization, rules-based personalization that you have inside Core XP that we are used to. You will have a similar thing. We have similar thing with XM Cloud. Plug to XM Cloud, you can have and will have XM Cloud content search, SITECORE content search, SITECORE search. There's no Solar, of course, because there's no CD, right? So the search is, again, this time SaaS offer, a cloud search. In SITECORE search, I have a slide for that later. SITECORE search is SITECORE's offer for replacing that. And also a new user interface, a graphical interface for doing what you see, what you get. They announced these sub products. Let's say SITECORE Pages is the new what you see, what you get editor. There's no Horizon anymore. That's the end of the line for Horizon. Sites, SITECORE Sites. It's a multi-site configuration, something similar to SXA's multi-site, multi-tenant capabilities. SITECORE Components, which is a toolbox of reusable components, what we are used to have in SITECORE XP as well. SITECORE Explorer, which is a cloud replacement of a content editor. So the content editor, as we know, it doesn't look like that anymore. There is still content tree, the concept of a content tree, but looks totally different. That's the SITECORE Explorer. Again, this is holiday in Brazil. You know, there's some cut channels, they just cut that part and don't give any context. So making sure you have the right context before you get the cut. Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, Content Hub 1. That was already another announcement. Content Hub 1. And what is that? Basically, another CMS based on cloud-based, but this time it's a different thing from the XM Cloud. Content Hub 1 is a very, very simple, but has a lot of features. We still have to check what the features they have. API first, Hello CMS for quickly omni-channel content creation. So it's based in Content Hub. That's where the name comes from, Content Hub, but without the DAM part, without the workflow part. That's only the CMS part of Content Hub. It includes tools for you to content modeling, for creating new templates, what we call templates, content types, publishing content, editing, creating content tree, pages, etc. And also had the front, so it's headless, so you can still implement whatever front end you need, or want. And checking the time, upgrading to full version of Content Hub. If you are in Content Hub 1, also will be possible. So basically, it's a smaller CMS for those who doesn't want the full XM Cloud suite. You can have a smaller version of that, and if you want, tomorrow you can have the Content Hub as a whole with just a few clicks. Cool. SITECORE Search that I mentioned in the previous slide. This is their SITECORE new based in the reflection. SITECORE just acquired recently the reflection. Based in that stack, the technical stack, they created the SITECORE search. There's a live example today in SITECORE's website. If you want to check sitecore.com slash search, you will be able to see this today, the SITECORE search. The whole search is based in SITECORE search. So you will be able to see how it looks like. There's facets, you can filter, apply filters, pagination, and everything. The look and feel is quite interesting, it's good. It's cloud-based again, differently than the past indexes that you might have worked in the past. SITECORE search is actually indexing the full HTML of your component instead of indexing the content itself, the separate content, raw content. It's actually indexing the render HTML. You still can do text search, of course, because it's HTML. But that's one important part that the technology. Also, it doesn't not just works plugged to XM Cloud, but as the word suggests, it's composable. It can work with any website, even with websites that are static or native, whatever language you want. If it's on the internet, it can be plugged to SITECORE search. Interesting part is AI powered. So you have artificial intelligence to assist with a number of things. For instance, to help you with the fast, fast and predictable results. So it gives you something that is fast, also personalized, but also predictable. It's not random, right? Because artificial intelligence sometimes can give you just random results, doesn't mean much. It's going to ensure predictability as well. You also can use artificial intelligence to predict the search results beforehand and show like automatic suggestions. Personalized content, you can offer personalization during based on the user behavior to the user, back to the user. So let's say someone who likes lifestyle, I'll say, I don't know, hiking, for instance, may give some hiking results before with more importance than the others. So that everything boils down to providing the relevant content for the customer. That's the whole chase all the time, right? And in the backend, there is a amazing user interface for analytical data, so you can have the backend and learn a lot about how your users are searching for content, how effective the results are appearing or not in the results, how effective your personalizations are actually acting. So the whole thing gives you, the keywords, the trends, everything in a very interesting user interface. Okay. SITECORE Connect, it's an interesting product. I feel very excited with this one because I know I am in my blood a programmer, a developer, but it's a low-code and no-code integration tool. And why I like it? Because sometimes I don't like to do, I'll say, throw out code. Sometimes you program a lot of scripts just for the integration, and then you don't use that for anything else. Sometimes you even throw away. So by using this tool, you can have a safe way to, it's based on Workato iPass, which is another product that SITECORE acquired recently. And it will give you an ability to have like an alternative for integration layer. Let me get back here. Yes. So imagine that you have the composable offers, and you have your system. You have to plug. You want to plug them together and with like an intermediary layer, a business intelligence layer. You can program that, of course, or maybe two other composable offers together, speaking to each other, but under your business rules. You can program that, or you can do that using the SITECORE Connect. It's like a similar ETL, extract, transform, load, where you can basically trigger an action when something happens, read the data from that action, transform the action, like parse the action, the data that you acquired, and do something with that after that. So I have some screens here. You see here the trigger is a new account has been created in Salesforce. There's some criterias and what you want to do next. You have loops, repeats. You can have stop. You can call another action. And so it's a way to plug things together. It comes with more than 1,000 connectors with multiple systems. So you don't have to program all the connectors. If you use something, Jira, Zoho, Salesforce, everything is there. More than 10,000 connectors. And it works with recipes. So recipes. Yes, recipes. So actually, it's templates that you can use to accelerate the build of your own integration very quickly. All right, I want to speak about my own presentation a little because I'm so proud about that. The name was CDP and Personalized for SITECORE XP Fanatics. And it was crazy when, back in the symposium was starting in Tuesday, and back in Sunday, it was already sold out. I was very happy to see that happening. My session was all around doing the comparison and learning SITECORE, CDP, and Personalize, using everything you know already from SITECORE XP. That's why I'm telling for XP fanatics like me, using your comfort zone, you're gonna learn the new features of SITECORE, CDP, and Personalize. This way, speeding up the learning process, appealing to some simplifications as well. Of course, it's just the beginning of the learning process, very basic one. And the whole stuff, in the beginning, I asked that, are you a fanatic or just a fan? Because in the meaning of the word, fanatic has all bad meanings, right? Extremist, sectarian, maniac, militant. But fan, in the other hand, has positive meanings like enthusiastic, admirer, follower, disciple. Everything is better if it's just a fan, right? But there's the story that for Spanish-speaking countries, the word fanatico, in Spanish, doesn't mean anything negative. Actually, they call themselves, I'm a proud fanatic, but that only means a fan. So that's why my highlight is be a fan, not a fanatic, unless you speak Spanish. So you have a good excuse for doing that. The session was quite full, really full. They had to shut down. I had some shots here. The shot was in the beginning of the presentation, but you can see there are still some people sitting in the back. In the end, was even worse. Next year, if I happen to go back as a speaker, I will pick this selfie in the end of the presentation instead of the beginning. So yeah, it was a nice presentation. Very happy to be there and represent Altudo. Another breakout sessions that I would like to highlight here that I was attending. Because I am an XP fanatic, I am of course interested to learn the new tools. So I was focusing on XM Cloud, especially for this one special XM Cloud Development, A Journey for SITECORE for .NET Developers by Sebastian Winter, my big bandmate. His speech was amazing. He was speaking again in the same spirit as my presentation, the differences, similarities, and differences between .NET development and XM Cloud headless implementation. But also I'm focusing a lot in SITECORE CDP, so I attended to these two other sessions on SITECORE CDP, how you can leverage decision model for success. A decision model is a key concept in personalized. And Who Moved My Cheese, amazing, by Chris Castro and Trevor Campbell. Personalizing CDP and Send all together. It was a great session as well. And it was a symposium party. Some people only go for the symposium for the party. I'm not that guy. I'm there for the knowledge. But there's a party. And the party this year was in the Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago. And my first idea was scratching my head, a party in a museum, old stuff. I can break something, alcohol and party and museum. But the place was huge. It's not just a museum. You see there's an airplane here. This is the party space. And a lot of culture. I took some shots for you guys and for my wife. She was not able to go. There's a lot of culture there. I love space science, rocket science. The place is so huge. They put inside a huge submarine, and that's a huge submarine. I got inside. There was like a guided tour. The place looks bigger from the outside. It's a little claustrophobic if you go. Now that you know this, you don't have to visit, only if you want, of course. And there is a lot of interesting things in that museum. Amazing place to be, guys. Also some music, like traditional American music from the 50s, First War, Second War. That was a great experience. I think one of the things that I have as a highlight from this symposium is, of course, the live, I would say, in-person interactions again after COVID. How important it is. We are all used to have our home offices, comfortable ones, and be looks enough. But the human touch is really important. It was so amazing to be there and be able to see my friends again, sing with them, have a drink with them, have fun with them, and learn with them together. This is a very enriching thing. We are here, as I mentioned in the beginning, for technology, yes, but we are also here for the human part. And a big part of this ecosystem, SITECORE ecosystem, is the community. SITECORE community is composed by amazing people who is always there to help you. The first time I got in touch with this environment, I was even a little confused. Why is this guy helping me? But they do that with full heart because this community is really powerful. And be able to be there in person, shaking their hands and having good moments with them is hard to. There's no payment for that. There's priceless. So my message is: don't stand still. Engage. Keep on engaging and learning with everything that is happening. A lot of transformations happening. We can have a full session about what that represents for normal work that we're used to do. But my final message is: symposiums are amazing opportunities to get networking and engage and learn, but it's not the only one. It's over now, next one in 1 year in front of us, but we still have a lot to do with our community, like this place that we're speaking right now, for instance. So thank you very much. That's all I got for today, and I would like to open for questions. Actually, I have 1 minute. Yes. Sorry, I think I spoke too much.
If I can squeeze in a quick question regards to SITECORE search, was there specified, does it work only with server-side rendering or as well pages which are client-side rendered, like kind of GSS without the server-side render?
Yes. So it indexes the HTML. Okay. So it's composable. So what it does is basically crawling the results of your pages and rendering that and indexing that. So it's basically compatible with anything that serves pages as HTML. I'm not sure if that accomplishes the whole question, but feel free to compliment. Anything else?
No, just thank you for taking us on the tour there. That was a nice way to wrap it up from start to end.
Thanks so much.
Yes.
My pleasure.
You made us like you took us to Chicago and took us back in 45 minutes. Yeah.
I also wanted to
Nice.
mention that I've been there like long time back, but it was really a good flashback.
Nice.
Yes. Mhm.
Yeah, was my first time in Chicago. I was really happy to be there. Amazing city.
Okay, good. Thank you very much.